राधा माधव हरि जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवर धारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवर जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवर धारी यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजना यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजना जमुना तीरा वनचारी जमुना तीरा वनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवर धारी यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजना यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजना जमुना तीरा वनचारी जमुना तीरा वनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Radha Gopinath Radha Gopinath Radhe. Jai Radha Kunj Bihari Radha Kunj Bihari Radhe. Jai Jagannatha Jagannatha Baladeva Maya Subhadra. Jaya Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman, Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman. Jai Gauranitai, 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 Jai Gauranitai. Jai Jai Prabhupada, 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 Jai Jai Prabhupada. Jai Jai Gurudev, 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 Jai Gurudev. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. हरिनाम संकीर्तन की ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकय चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतः पदकमलं श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितंश्च। नमो ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामीति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे वंचाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा। So very happy and grateful to be here again for another session. So yesterday we were discussing the life of Hanumanji, and we were discussing how Hanumanji embodies the principle of seva, because Hanumanji is the best servant, and Hanumanji also embodies the principle of sadhana, service. So in spiritual life there are few aspects that are very important for a sadhaka. Sadhaka again is with the word S. So sadhaka basically is one who does good sadhana, who does his own very well, who does a study of scriptures well, which is called swadhyaya. We are busy studying the world around, the technology around. It is also important to study yourself. So this is called swadhyaya. And similarly, there is this principle of seva, doing service to the Lord. So Hanumanji was a perfect servant, but whenever Hanumanji would get time, when he didn't have very active service, Hanumanji would be absorbed in chanting the names of God. So today we are going to discuss this very important topic on the process of chanting, the science of chanting, the technology of chanting, how by the process of chanting we can deepen our connection with Krishna. We all have a connection with God, but somehow we have forgotten it. We have forgotten a connection with God. So the process of establishing that connection back with God is the process of yoga. Just by chanting the holy names of God, by practicing the process of bhakti, we can establish the connection back with God. This example is given just like a fish. The fish, if you put the fish out of water, you give the fish anything, the fish is not going to be happy. Again, you give anything to the fish is not going to be happy. The only thing the fish wants is water. Similarly, all of us are like this fish. We may have many things in this world, but none of the things in this world can satisfy our heart. What actually satisfies our heart is the connection with God. And this connection with God is like water for all of us. Just like the fish needs water, so all of us need this connection with God to be actually happy. In the scriptures, you have many stories. You have the story of Sudama and so many devotees who were externally poor, but they were very happy and satisfied because they had a connection with God. And in the same scriptures, you have the example of Ravan, Hiranyakashipu. They had everything that they wanted. You can't even imagine the kind of wealth they had, but they were not satisfied because they didn't have God with them. They didn't have their connection with God. So it's very important that we somehow deepen our connection with Krishna. So we'll begin today's session by chanting a very important verse of Bhagavad Gita. This is Bhagavad Gita, 8th chapter, 5th verse. You all can repeat this verse after me. Antakale cha mameva Smaran muktva kalevaram Yaprayati samadbhavam Yati nasti atra samshaya Antakale cha mameva Smaran muktva kalevaram Yaprayati samadbhavam Yati nasti atra samshaya. One more time we'll recite. Antakale cha mameva Smaran muktva kalevaram यप्रयाति समद्भावम् याति नास्ति अत्र संशया. Very beautiful verse and a very important verse. This is the 8th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, the 5th shloka. Lord Krishna says, Antakale cha mame smaran muktva kalevaram. Mukta kalevaram means at the time of death. Right? We were giving this example yesterday that life is a preparation and death is the final examination. Parikshit Maharaj, when he got this notice of 7 days life, in 7 days he's about to die, Parikshit wanted to perfect his life. So Lord Krishna explains in this shloka, at the last moment, at the time of death, if we can remember Krishna, Antakalech Mam Eva. What does the word Eva mean? Eva means only. So what is the Lord saying? If at the time of death, we can remember only Krishna, only God and nothing else, no one else, then we will all go back to the spiritual world. Ya prayati samadbhavam. Madbhavam means we will attain Krishna's nature, we will attain an eternal body. Yati nasti atra samshaya. Lord Krishna says, of this there is no doubt. There is no sanshaya that anyone who remembers him at the time of death, what will happen? You'll go back to the spiritual world. You don't have to come back to this material world. The next shloka, text 6 of the 8th chapter, the verse is not here, but the verse says, Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tyajyati anta kalevaram tam tam evati kaunteya sada tad bhava bhavita. So Lord Krishna explains, whatever we think at the time of death, same state we will attain. Because, ultimately, the body, matter, is created based on the mind. The mind or consciousness, Hare Krishna. Mind or consciousness is what actually creates matter. Just like now, anything, like suppose you are making a building. Where is the building first made? In your mind. You visualize it in your mind, then you put it on paper, and then the building is physically made, isn't it? Every creation first happens in the mind. After that, it's created in reality, physically. So Lord Krishna explains, this is a science. What we think at the time of death, accordingly we will get a body. If you think of anything in this world, you will be born again in this world. So at the time of death, what we are supposed to think of? Only God. So someone may say, it's very easy. What is the problem? Just enjoy life fully. And at the time of death, think of God. Very simple, no? Is it that simple? It's not simple. Because if you have not practiced throughout your life, you will never be able to think of God at the time of death. It's impossibility. If you are not passed small exams, small little test, how we will pass the main exam? It is not at all possible. We have to practice. There was one time, very interesting story. There was one time, a very old man, elderly person, was very attached to his family and business that he had. The children were already grown up. The children were trying to tell the father that, my dear father, you be a little detached. Don't worry, we will handle the business. But this elderly father was so attached to the business, again and again he would poke his nose. So the children decided, they called one sadhu and told the sadhu, please take our father for Tirth Yatra. Take him anywhere, let him develop some renunciation in his life. So the sadhu took the father everywhere, and finally they reached Varanasi. In Varanasi, there is a place called Manikarnika Ghat. You have heard Manikarnika Ghat? That is a place where bodies are continuously burned there. So after this person reached Manikarnika Ghat, he had tears in his eyes. And this person started to tell the sadhu, I have wasted my entire life. So the sadhu became very happy. Finally, this person is developed some mood of renunciation. He's understanding he's wasted his life. So the sadhu asked him, why do you think you have wasted your life? He says, my whole life I have done cloth business. I didn't understand that there is so much business for wood also. I would have done this business also. So this is the point, that if you don't have training to remember Krishna throughout our life, we will not be able to remember Krishna at the time of death. So Srila Prabhupada, the founder Acharya of ISKCON, in the explanation for this verse in the purport, Prabhupada mentions, see Lord Krishna, what he's saying here, Smaran Muktva Kalevaram. What is Lord Krishna saying? You have to think of Krishna at the time of death. Prabhupada in the purport explains, thinking of Krishna means chanting Hare Krishna. When we chant these names of God, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. When we repeatedly chant the names of God, when we practice it in our life, then it becomes part of your system. And at the time of death, there is good possibility that you can think of Krishna and go back to the spiritual world. So these set of verses, verse number 5, 6 and 7. In the 7th verse of this particular chapter, Lord Krishna says, Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mam anusmara yuddhacha. So someone may say, if you have to continuously think of Krishna, should I just give up all my duties? Should I just become a renunciate? Lord Krishna tells Arjuna, no. You can continue your duties, but what you have to do? As you are continuing your duties, you have to remove some time to chant the names of God. Mam anusmara yuddhacha. So Lord Krishna is telling Arjuna, chant, remember me, and also fight. Because fighting was a duty of Arjuna. So in our life, we have to continue our material responsibilities. Simultaneously, we have to prioritize chanting of God's names. God has given us 24 hours, right? It's, life can be taken away at any moment. Every day in one sense is a bonus day. In the night only, there is good possibility that we could have left our bodies. So every day when we get up in the morning, we should understand that this is a bonus day that God has given us, Krishna has given us. So Krishna has given us 24 hours. Some time we have to remove for Krishna, chanting the names of God. And by doing this, we will only be the gainer. It's not that Krishna is going to gain anything. We will actually gain. So this is the purpose of human life. What is the purpose of human life? We practice the process of bhakti so that at the final moment of our life, we can think of God and go back to the spiritual world. This is actually the purpose. So, there are 4 yugas that are mentioned. You all may be aware of this. Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapar Yuga, Kali Yuga. We are in which yuga now? Kali Yuga. So Kali Yuga is called Iron Age. Satya Yuga was the golden age. Now it's not golden age anymore. So every yuga, every age has a certain process through which one can attain God. Certain process. It is called the Yuga Dharma. This is the Yuga Dharma. In Mahabharata there is a shloka. Ahar nidra bhai maitunam cha samanya etat pashubir naranam dharmo hi tesham adhiko vishesho dharmena hina pashubi samana. Eating, sleeping, mating, defending. This even animals do. As human beings, we may be doing this, but it doesn't make us better than animals. What makes us better than animals is the aspect of dharma. So in every yuga, there is a certain dharma, a certain process through which one can attain God. In Satya Yuga, the process to attain God is dhyana. Therefore, this verse says, Krite yad dhyayato Vishnu. Satya Yuga is also called Krita Yuga. Krite yad dhyayato Vishnu. So in Satya Yuga, if someone has to attain God, one has to do dhyan for a very, very long time, meditation. Just like Vishwamitra, he did meditation for thousands and thousands of years. Because in that particular age, the lifespan was very long. So you could afford doing that kind of meditation. The next yuga is Treta Yuga, the yuga in which Lord Ram came. Treta yam yajato makai. In Treta Yuga, the yuga dharma to attain God is to do yagya. In those days, they would do Ashwamedh yagya, different kinds of yagya, like that. So that was the yuga dharma for Treta Yuga. Dwapar Yuga, which is the yuga in which Lord Krishna came, Dwapare Paricharyayam. In Dwapar Yuga, the yuga dharma is to do worship, to construct temples, to worship deities. Most of the temples, especially in South India, these are all there right from the time of Dwapar Yuga, like 5,000 years plus. You would making huge temples, elaborate deity worship, all that. In Kali Yuga, none of this is very practical. You sit to meditate, you close your eyes to meditate, do dhyan. How long you can sit for? Very soon you will see your mobile ringing, something or the other coming. Even if you go to a forest, something or the other will come there. So dhyan is very impractical in Kali Yuga. Sitting for meditation for years and years is not possible. And to do dhyan, technically, you have to go to the forest. If you read 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, is called Dhyan Yoga. Dhyan Yoga. Lord Krishna is explaining the entire process of Dhyan Yoga to Arjuna. The first prerequisite for Dhyan Yoga, you have to give up your home and go to the forest. Living in a city, you can't do Dhyan Yoga. Not possible. So in Kali Yuga, it's a very difficult thing for us to do. So Dhyan is difficult. Doing Yagyas, again, is a very difficult task. To do Yagya, first you need proper Brahmanas who can pronounce properly, you can chant properly. Very difficult to find. Even if you find proper Brahmanas, you need actual pure ghee. Pure ghee itself is so costly and so rare. What you get in the market is all duplicate ghee. So do Yagya in Kali Yuga is very, very difficult. And to do deity worship, you have to take bath so many times, so much level of purity. Again, it's difficult. So in Kali Yuga, the process to attain God is very simple. Kalau tad hari kirtana. In Kali Yuga, what you have to do? Just do kirtan. Just chant. Imagine this. To attain God, you don't have to go to the forest. You don't have to, get brahmanas, get all the yagya samagri. You don't have to create temples. You don't have to do anything. You just have to open your mouth and chant the names of God. So simple. But the problem with all of us is that we are not even ready to do this. We are so lazy, we don't even want to open our mouth and chant Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada, in those days when Prabhupada was preaching in the West, one devotee had drawn a cartoon. So one devotee is, in this cartoon it was shown, one devotee is preaching to one lady. And this devotee is telling this lady, chant, chant, chant. Jap karo, mala jap karo. And this lady is saying, can't. To say chant also takes that much energy. To say can't also takes that much energy. But this is the problem. People don't want to do it. Just like now, all of you are professors, So if there is I don't know what grade system happens in bits, but if you have you have to pass a certain exam, you reach 70%, 80%, but the student is failing again and again and again and again. The institute becomes very compassionate and tells, TK, you just come to the examination hall, write your name on the paper and go. You'll get full marks. Literally what is happening in Kali Yuga is this. To attain God, you have to clear that final exam. Literally you have to actually get 100% in that exam. None of us are able to do it. So God has brought the standard so less for people in Kali Yuga. Just open your mouth and chant Hare Krishna. It is like just writing your name on the examination paper, finish. But the problem with all of us, we are even lazy for that. We are so lazy that we don't even want to chant Hare Krishna. So, many times this question comes, what is meditation and what is japa? Mantra meditation. So the word meditation basically means meditating on God. The idea of meditation on impersonal, on nothingness is actually not true meditation. To meditate, you need a form to focus on. So even the Dhyan yogis, ultimately, if you know a little about Patanjali Ashtanga Yoga, ultimately the principle, the aim of Patanjali Ashtanga Yoga is the point of Samadhi. Samadhi means you want to get darshan of the Paramatma within. So meditation basically means meditating on the form of God. And mantra meditation, this Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, we are meditating on the names of God. The name of God and the form of God and God itself are non-different. They are the same. Therefore, God is called omnipotent. Anything connected to Him is as powerful as Him. In this world, you may have a person and you may have the name of the person. The name of the person is not the person, right? You chant the name of a person, but until that person comes, he cannot actually help you. But the names of God are non-different than God. Nama namino abhinnatvam. The name of God is not different than God. Therefore, by chanting the names of God, by repeatedly chanting it, we are doing the highest kind of meditation. This is the highest form of meditation. The word mantra, what does mantra mean? Mantrayate iti mantra. That which can control the mind. Repeated chanting of what can control the mind, can liberate the mind from its own thoughts is called mantra. So when we repeatedly chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, the mind actually becomes controlled. Krishna helps us to control the mind. So the question may come that we have so many mantras in this world. Why do we focus on Hare Krishna Mahamantra? This Mahamantra, Hare Krishna Mahamantra, what is so special about it? There are so many mantras that we can chant. But the scriptures explain, for just like we discussed that every yuga has a yuga dharma. For Kali Yuga, the yuga dharma is to chant the names of God, Hari Kirtanat. But what names of God is also mentioned? There is one Upanishad, there are 108 Upanishads. There is one Upanishad called Kali Santaran Upanishad, very small Upanishad. Narad Muni goes to Lord Brahma just before the start of Kali Yuga, and Narad Muni is asking Brahma, now Kali Yuga is going to start. How will people of Kali Yuga get delivered? Because Narad could foresee all the problems that are going to come in Kali Yuga. So that time Brahmaji gives this Mahamantra. So this Mahamantra that we chant is not invented by ISKCON. It's not that Srila Prabhupada invented a mantra. No. This mantra is there in the scriptures. So in Kali Santaran Upanishad, Brahmaji gives this Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And then Brahmaji says, Iti Shodashaka Nam Kali Kalmashanashanam Natta Paratro Upaya Sarva Vedesha Drishyate. So Brahmaji explains this 16-syllable Mahamantra, Iti Shodashaka Nam Kali Kalmashanashanam, will destroy all the impurities of Kali Yuga. People of Kali Yuga, externally there is so much pollution. Internally also there is so much pollution. The reason there is external pollution is because of internal pollution. So how do we clean our heart? This Mahamantra, Iti Shodashaka Nam Kali Kalmashanashanam Nata Paratro Upaya. Brahmaji, who's Brahma? Brahma is the original creator. He is born directly from Vishnu. He is the one who wrote the Vedas. Brahmaji is saying Natta Paratro Upaya. What does Natta Paratro Upaya means? There is no other solution. Sarva Vedesha Drishyate. This is the opinion of all the Vedas. So Brahmaji, who is the author of the Vedas, the most intelligent personality, the first creator, the first person in this universe, his opinion is, if you want to experience freedom from all impurities, if you want to experience deliverance, the only hope is Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Just like you have a 1,000, 2,000 rupee note, in that all other small denominations come in it. So this Mahamantra includes all other mantras in it. So just by chanting the Mahamantra, everything else is included in it. So the Bhagavad Gita, we started with the verse of Bhagavad Gita. What is Lord Krishna saying in that first verse that we saw? Antakale cha Mahamego. Lord Krishna is saying, one should think of me at the time of death. That means basically Lord Krishna is saying, think of me continuously. Satatam kirtayanto mam yatantascha dridavrata. Lord Krishna says, continuously do my kirtan, keep chanting. So Bhagavad Gita also ends with this principle of doing bhakti to Krishna. The last conclusive verse that Lord Krishna speaks in the Bhagavad Gita, Sarva dharman parityajya mam ekam sharanam vraja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshashyami ma suchah. Very interesting verse. Bhagavad Gita is a dharma shastra. Lord Krishna speaks different kinds of dharmas. But at the end, Lord Krishna, what is saying? Give up all dharma. Sarva dharman parityajya. But Lord Krishna, what he's trying to tell is, the highest dharma is to surrender to Krishna. Mam ekam sharanam vraja. And the way we surrender to Krishna is by the process of bhakti. And the simplest way in which we can practice the process of bhakti is by chanting the names of God. So Bhagavad Gita ends almost with the understanding of inspiring all of us to chant. After Bhagavad Gita is Srimad Bhagavatam. So we have three very important books: Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita. Where Bhagavad Gita ends, Bhagavatam starts. Like in bits you have bachelor's degree, master's degree, and then those who want to do, they go for PhD. So like that, these are the three set of books. For the basic degree that everyone should, the basic understanding of God everyone should get is through Bhagavad Gita. But Bhagavad Gita has a very limited knowledge because Lord Krishna was in the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Now in the battlefield of Kurukshetra, you can't open the whole discussion up. So in 700 verses, Lord Krishna summed up the whole thing. The detail is in Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam has 18,000 verses. Bhagavad Gita 700 verses. Bhagavatam is 18,000 verses. But the last verse of Bhagavatam, the last verse, what does it say? This is that verse. Nama Sankirtana Yasya Sarva Papa Pranashanam Pranamo Dukkha Shamanas Tam Namamim Harim Param. Bhagavad Gita ends with chanting. The last verse of Bhagavatam, after you read the entire philosophy of Bhagavatam, what is the conclusion, take home message? Nama Sankirtana Yasya. Chant the names of God. Sarva Papa Pranashanam. It will destroy all your papa. Pranamo Dukkha Shamanas. It will destroy all your suffering. It will destroy all your misery. Tam Namamim Harim Param. I offer my obeisances to the holy names of Krishna who's come to deliver all of us. So Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, both encourage us and bring us to the point of chanting Hare Krishna. And where Bhagavatam ends, Chaitanya Charitamrita starts. And Chaitanya Charitamrita, right from the beginning till the end, explains the process of chanting. And there is this beautiful verse which comes in Chaitanya Charitamrita. You all can repeat this verse after me. Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Namaiva Kevalam, Kalo Nasteva Nasteva, Nasteva Gatir Anyata. Simple verse, but a very powerful verse. In this age of quarrel and hypocrisy, the only means of deliverance is chanting of the holy names of God. There is no other way, no other way, no other way. Why is it mentioned 3 times? It's not a mistake. It is on purpose it is mentioned. Like now, I don't know whether you all do it as professor in the class. When the students make a lot of noise, there's a lot of disturbance in the class. What do we generally say? You say, silence, silence, silence. You stress it 3 times. But that means that's enough. Do you all do that sometimes? I really don't know how you all control children. But yeah, like, or you go to a court, there's a lot of noise in the court. The judge will take that hammer and say, silence, silence, silence. That's bus, nothing more than this. So when you speak it 3 times, it is for emphasis. Just keep quiet, just keep quiet, just keep quiet. That means you are really strong on that message. So by repetition in this verse, it is emphasized 3 times more. Harer Nam, Harer Nam, Harer Nam Eva Kevalam. 3 times. Only chanting, only chanting, only chanting. So positively 3 times it is emphasized, and negatively also. Nasteva, Nasteva, Nasteva. No other way, no other way, no other way. So in one sense in this verse, 6 times it is emphasized. Chanting, 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 nothing else, nothing else, nothing else. 6 times this is emphasized that chanting is the only way in Kali Yuga in which one can experience deliverance. So therefore, throughout the land of India, whether it is the sadhu sants in this part of India, whether it is Karnataka, whether it is Maharashtra, whether it is the Bengal, all the great saints, whether it is Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Tukaram Maharaj, Kanakadas, Purandar Das, all of them, their entire teachings boils down to this principle of Nama Sankirtan. The most intelligent people in this world, the most intelligent people, Ramanujacharya, Madhvacharya, and all the great personalities, they all emphasize this point of chanting. Shankaracharya, when he wants in his final days, Shankaracharya explains this very beautiful song. Bhajagovindam, Bhajagovindam, Bhajagovindam Mudamate, Samprapte Sannihite Kale, Nahi Nahi Rakshati Dikran Karine. So Shankaracharya says, at the time of death, your knowledge of Sanskrit will not help you. You may be a big expert in Sanskrit, that will not help you. What is going to help you is Krishna. And again, 3 times he's mentioning there, Bhajagovindam, Bhajagovindam, Bhajagovindam Mudamate. My dear fools, become intelligent and worship Krishna. This is the message of all the scriptures, whether it is Gita, whether it is Bhagavatam, whether it is Chaitanya Charitamrita. Vedanta Sutra, Vyasdev wrote the Vedas. After writing the Vedas, Vyasdev wrote Vedanta Sutra. What is Vedanta Sutra? It is like aphorisms, short version of Vedas, one-liners basically. The first verse of Vedanta Sutra is Atato Brahma Jigyasa. Now it is the time for humans to inquire about God. The last verse of Vedanta Sutra, what it says, Anavriti Shabdat. That means you will get liberation through sound. Last verse of Vedanta Sutra. The only way you can experience deliverance is by sound. So you study any of the scriptures through any angle, the conclusion will be chanting Hare Krishna. This will be the conclusion. So therefore, this Hare Krishna Mahamantra is very, very important. And how does this work? I give you this example, just like a fish. So chanting of Hare Krishna is like very natural for all of us. Therefore, Srila Prabhupada, when he established ISKCON centers around the world, there is no city in the world where there is no ISKCON center, no temple. Everywhere there is a temple or a center. You'll find devotees in every nook and corner of the world. For Indians to chant Hare Krishna is okay. But for foreigners, Russians, Europeans, Americans, Chinese, Japanese, Africans, chanting Hare Krishna, how is it possible? That means this Mahamantra is not for India. It is a universal language that everyone can connect to. This Mahamantra is same in every language. Just like a child cries. Prabhupada explains, what is the meaning of the Mahamantra? It is like a child crying for a mother. A small child, when the child cries, which language the child cries in? The child cries in Telugu, the child cries in Tamil, Hindi, Chinese. The crying is the same, no? Every language, a Chinese child, a Telugu child, every child cries in the same way. So Mahamantra is like a child crying for the father, for the mother. In this mood, we are supposed to chant. So Hare Krishna Mahamantra puts us in connection with God. As soon as we take the mala and chant, we experience that connection. So by doing this process, immediately we will experience that connection with Krishna. So Krishna is always available to us. We just need to pick up a mala and chant. So the meaning of the Mahamantra, as I told you, it's like a child crying for the mother. The meaning of the Mahamantra, Prabhupada would explain it as, my dear father, my dear mother, Radha Krishna. Hare here refers to Radharani, Krishna is Krishna. My dear father, my dear mother, my eternal father and mother, let me serve you. In this world, we are all wanting to enjoy. Yesterday we were discussing this principle. The reason we come to this world is because we want to enjoy separately of God. We want to be God, we want to be competitors to God. And the reason, the only way we can go back to the spiritual world is when we rectify this mood, when we gradually want to serve God. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, there's a very beautiful story. The king of Orissa, 500 years ago, he was a king called Pratap Rudra Maharaj. So King Pratap Rudra, even though he was the king of Orissa, in his heart of heart, he was a great devotee of God. So he wanted to achieve the mercy of Mahaprabhu. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who's Krishna himself, was performing pastimes in Jagannath Puri at that time. So the king Pratap Rudra, he gives up his kingly dress, wears a simple dress of a beggar, and he goes to meet Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Mahaprabhu is asking Pratap Rudra, who are you? Who are you? So Pratap Rudra doesn't say, I'm the king of Orissa, I'm so famous, you don't know me. How does Pratap Rudra introduce himself? He says, Raja kahe, Ami tomar dasi ranudas, Brityer Britya kara ei mora ash. So the king of Orissa says, I am servant of the servant of the servant. And to remain your servant is my only desire. So the meaning of the Mahamantra is, we are praying sincerely to Radha Krishna, please engage me in your service. Because we have forgotten service of Krishna, we are engaging in the service of Maya, and therefore we are suffering. So by chanting the Mahamantra, we are praying for the service mood. We are doing this in a Seva Bhav. So the holy name is powerful because I explained this principle. Because the name of God is not different than God. God is omnipotent. So the name of God is not different than God. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Shikshashtakam, he explains this verse. Nam Namakari Bahuda Nija Sharva Shaktis. The Supreme Lord has invested all his powers in the holy name. Sarva Shaktis. It doesn't say here the Lord has invested 2-3 of his energy. All the energies of Krishna are invested in the holy names. So by chanting the holy names of Krishna, we can actually experience Krishna. We have so many examples. I think yesterday I told you the example of Valmiki Muni. Valmiki, he was actually Ratnakar, a very, he used to do all wrong activities as a dacoit. But just by chanting the name of Ram, Valmiki's heart became so pure that he became the author of Ramayana. So the names of God is so pure that whatever sin that we may have committed, everything can go away just by sincerely chanting the names of God. So in this Mahamantra, Krishna refers to God, God is God and Krishna is God, and Hare here refers to Mataji, is she okay? She's okay. So Hare here refers to Srimati Radharani. So therefore we have Hare Krishna. We refer to the feminine counterpart and then God. Radha Krishna, Sita Ram, Lakshmi Narayan. It is never Ram Sita. It is never Narayan Lakshmi. It is always Sita Ram, Lakshmi Narayan, Radha Krishna. So first we invoke the goddess, the mother, and then the father. So when we chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, we are calling out to Radha Krishna, please engage me in your service. This is the mood that we chant with. The meaning of the word Ram, there are different Rams that is mentioned in scriptures. One is Parshuram. Parshuram is also called Ram. Ramachandra is also called Ram. Krishna is also called Ram. One of the name of Krishna is Radhika Ramana. So what is the meaning of the word Krishna? What is the meaning of the word? What does Krishna mean? All attractive. What is the meaning of the word Ram? What does Ram mean? No. Ram, yeah, that could also be there. Ram basically means pleasure. The source of all pleasure. Ramana, the source of all pleasure. So in this world, we all want pleasure in life. Anandamayo Vyasa, we are all looking for that pleasure. So that real pleasure that we are looking for, that relationship, that love that we are looking for, can all be experienced by chanting the Mahamantra. Because this is non-different than Krishna and Ram. Imagine, if you have Krishna coming to your house, if the Supreme Lord is coming to your house, can anything be shortage in your house? There cannot be any shortage. You'll have everything in your life. What else can be missing? So if Mahamantra is there in your house, Krishna is there, Ram is there, Radharani is there, there will be everything perfect that is happening there. So this one process can sort out everything else in life. So many times, generally what we do in ISKCON as devotees, we chant the Mahamantra on beads, on mala. At the end we will do a actual practical session. So we chant on beads. The bead has 108, the mala has 108 beads. And then we try to chant 1 round, 2 rounds. We keep a count. So many people have this question, why do you all keep count? Why do you, we can just keep chanting like that? But the point is, without keeping a count, there is no discipline. Without count, there can never be discipline in life. And you can never achieve success in life. Athletes, one who's wanting to win the Olympic match, 100-meter race or whatever, he runs with a counter. He keeps a time. This much I've run this time, next time let me do it faster. If there is no track, you will never do it. So discipline has to be there. Disciple means discipline. All our great acharyas, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna himself, Haridas Thakur who is the Namacharya, all these great personalities, they didn't have to chant with a count. They could just chant. They are already liberated souls. But to set an example, they chanted with a count. So for all of us, either one round, two rounds to start with, some minimum number we have to fix on and do it. Come what may, we have to do it. This is called sankalpa. A sincere person, as soon as you take a sankalpa, you do it at any cost, high or low water. So keeping count brings a lot of discipline in our life. And then why 108? 108 is a very holy number in our scriptures. We have 108 Tirth Stali, Divya Kshetra. Okay? Here only in Hyderabad you have Statue of Equality, and Chinnajiyar Swami has kept all the 108 Divya Stalis there in one place. So we have 108 Divya Deshams. Krishna had 108 principal gopis. Krishna had 108 principal wives. Like this, there are different reasons for the number 108, a very auspicious number. But having said this, 108, one mala is the minimum, bare minimum. We are supposed to do multiples of 108. Ideally, what we are supposed to do, Ideally, we are supposed to chant 24 hours. Ideally. Kirtaniya Sadahari, 24 hours. But if that is not possible for us, Srila Prabhupada very mercifully has given all devotees, sincere devotees, the figure of 16 rounds, which for in the beginning may seem too much, but gradually, you can slowly inch to that level. 16 rounds, matlab, it will take you around 2 hours every day. You may say, how do I get 2 hours for Krishna? Krishna has given us 24 hours. If you can manage time, now it is possible. Everything is possible. See, whenever people ask this question, where is the time to chant? The question is not the time to chant, whether chanting is your priority. If it is your priority number one, you will find time for it. However busy we are, we have time to eat, we have time to sleep. Right? We find time for all this. So why, when it comes to chanting, why do we postpone it? We have to prioritize it. Then we will be able to do it. So 16 rounds is like the bare minimum that Prabhupada and the Acharyas explained that we have to try to do. Right? Ideally, a human's life, how it should be. We have 24 hours. 24 hours can be divided into 3. 3 times 8 is 24. Ideally, a human's life should be 8 hours for the body. For your sleep, eating, drinking, 8 hours. 8 hours for working. You have to do your job 8 hours. Ideally, the remaining 8 hours should be for bhakti. That is how everyone's day should be. 8 hours for your job, 8 hours for your sleep and eating, 8 hours for chanting. 8 hours for chanting means 64 rounds. Prabhupada's guru, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, his level was, when someone would go to him for Diksha, his standard was 64 rounds. When Prabhupada went to America to preach, Prabhupada told the boys and girls who were wanting initiation, Prabhupada said 64 rounds. The American boys and girls are very restless. They said, Prabhupada, 64 is too much. Prabhupada said, finally 32 rounds. And these boys and girls again started to bargain. Prabhupada said 16 rounds, nothing less than this. So what is 24 hours should have been 8 hours. Forget 8 hours. Now it has just come to 2 hours. So if not even 2 hours, at least we have to start somewhere. Somewhere the journey has to start. 1 round, 2 rounds, somewhere it has to start. And as soon as you started at some point, you can just continue on. In my life, I came in Krishna consciousness, in my school days only. But I started to chant 16 rounds when I was in my 11th standard, just getting into 12th. I remember in those days, the devotee was preaching to me. It was my 12th standard starting with the boards exams. So I had a choice whether I should do it now or complete my 12th and do it. But I decided that exams will keep coming in life. I have to do it at that point. So at that point, I decided to chant. And since then, the process has been on. So many things have come in life and gone. But this one thing is something that will give you so much satisfaction. In life, we may make wrong decisions in many places. After buying a mobile, you may feel that I should have bought this mobile, I should have bought that. But this one decision of chanting Hare Krishna, we will never regret this decision. So, yeah. In chanting, many people have this question: should we chant one round, quality round, or Hare Krishna? Should we chant one quality rounds, 4 quality rounds, or 16 rounds with full devotion? What do you think? What is the answer for this? 4 rounds with full devotion or 16 rounds with half devotion? What do you think? Full devotion. Ideally, the answer should be 16 rounds with full devotion. Like suppose someone asks you, what would you prefer? One chapati, which is like real high quality chapati. Will you like eating one chapati, real good quality, or 4 chapatis, not good quality? What will your answer be? Mataji is very renounced. Ideally, I would answer 4 chapatis, good quality. है कि नहीं? We want quantity also, we want quality also. है कि नहीं? एक चपाती से मन नहीं भरेगा. Right? So quality, quantity, both are needed. Rather, if you do good chanting, if you do chanting nicely absorbed, automatically you will want to do the next. It will be an automatic thing. If you have tasted like an rabdi, like if someone gives you rabdi, you eat that rabdi nicely. And if someone comes and asks you, do you want again? You'll naturally say yes. Give me again, why not? Because it's so nice, you want to have a second serve. Similarly, chanting, you do it nicely, you experience the taste. Naturally, your beads will go, your hands will go to the next mala. You'll want to do it again. And that means you are actually progressing. So, we discussed this point already. How to find time to chant. Simple. We have to find all the time that we waste. And no one is that busy that there is no time. Lord Krishna, where did Lord Krishna speak Bhagavad Gita? In the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Shank, the conch shells were blown on both sides. The war was about to start. If in that chaos Arjun could remove time to read Bhagavad Gita, to hear Gita, none of us are that pressing busy. We all have engagement for sure, but we can find time. The time that we waste in so many other things, we can cut down on that time and use that time for chanting. That's how we have to focus. So now we come to, so till now we saw the importance of chanting, why we should chant, the science behind chanting. Now we'll come to how to chant. Right? So whenever this topic of chanting comes, there are 2-3 things related to it. One is why to chant, the first question, most important. We spent a lot of time in answering that why. The next is what is chanting. We already discussed the names of God, non-different than God. We discussed all that. Now towards the end, we are coming to how to chant. How to chant. What are the rules for chanting? The first is prayerful mood. This chanting is not a mechanical thing. Mala liya, Rajdhani Express ki tarah fatafat. That's not the mood. We have to do it in a prayerful mood. That your heart has to be in the process. Right? There is art, A-R-T, art of chanting. There may be a lot of tips to chant. But what is most important is your heart. Your heart should be in chanting. Right? You should be able to chant in a very prayerful mood. And how do we get this prayerful mood? Simple. When you honestly understand your position, the prayerful mood will come. Once we honestly understand how we are suffering in this world, whether we admit it publicly or not, we all know what suffering we have. Someone may ask you, how are you? You may say, I'm fine. But in our heart of no heart, we know what we are going through. We all have our own issues. There's no one who doesn't have. So when we chant Hare Krishna, it is a prayer. We are connecting to Krishna. My dear Krishna, please come to help me. Just like Draupadi was crying to Krishna, in that mood, we are praying to Krishna in a prayerful mood. This is very important. Second P is called pay attention. Pay attention. As professors, probably you all tell this to students now. Pay attention. Be alert. Right? Because the students are generally, they tend to get spaced out. They are physically present but mentally absent. In chanting, it happens quite often. You are chanting, but your mind is gone somewhere else. As devotees, we say, as soon as you take mala in your hand, your mind goes on a flight. It goes everywhere. Dubai, Europe, everywhere it will go. And as soon as you put the mala down, the flight will land. The mind will come back. So the mind will go away. Lord Krishna also tells in the Gita, it will definitely go away. But we have to bring the mind back to hearing the names. So mind goes back, the first word, Hare Krishna, chanted loudly, you'll get the mind back. So you have to pay attention. So how the process of chanting, for it to give maximum result, you have to chant clearly and hear attentively. You have to hear each word very, very attentively. And then when you hear, the Mahamantra goes in the heart and purifies the heart. So this is the second principle, pay attention. And the third very important principle that I told you is proper pronunciation. Pronouncing properly. Right? And there is one more P. Is it there? Okay. One more P is not there, but there is another P, which is called proper posture. Posture means when we sit to chant, especially when you sit straight, you can focus. Like if you are sitting on a relaxed sofa and chanting, in all possibility you're going to sleep. Because chanting is like a monotonous thing, na? You're repeating the same thing, and you're on a very relaxed sofa, you'll go to sleep for sure. So sitting straight is important. So 4 things we saw in relation to chanting. There are many more things, but these are 4 basic things. First is prayerful mood. Second is to pay attention to your proper pronunciation. We are supposed to pronounce each word properly, not eat it, not run through it. You have to pronounce properly. And then proper posture, sitting straight. If you do these 4 things now, the chanting experience will be much more better. What is a good speed to chant? Many devotees have this question. Should I chant fast? Should I chant slow? What is important? Everyone's speed may vary. So we don't have to compare speeds, because everyone has a different way, different style of chanting, different speed of chanting. But most important is you have to feel that you have done your job nicely. That's what is important. At the end of the day, you have to feel satisfied that I have chanted nicely and heard. To chant too slow, your mind tends to get spaced out. If you chant too fast, you may eat up words. So that medium rhythm, generally between 7 to 10 minutes per round. Battery is running out, I think. More to your battery is running, but I think we'll complete it. Okay. So is it okay to chant in mind? This also many people have this question. You tell people to chant Hare Krishna, they will tell that it's already going on in my mind, right? So chanting in mind is for a very high level of people. What is important, the process that Mahaprabhu has given us, the Acharyas have given us, is chanting and hearing. So you don't have to chant so loudly. It's not that you chant so loudly that all the neighbors in bits hear. You don't have to do that. We are respectful to everyone. But we chant audible enough so that we can hear it. That's the idea. You have to chant and you have to hear. Because in the process of chanting now, all your senses have to come in play. In your beads, with your touch sensation, you're touching the beads. With your mouth, you're chanting. With your ear, you're hearing. And the mind, you're trying to focus. So all your senses are getting involved. So chant audibly so that you can hear. Best time and place to chant. What do you all think? Which is the best time and place to chant? Ideally, morning is best, because disturbances are least in the morning. Sattva guna is more in the morning, right? Morning time is reason. If you are not able to do it, any time of the day will do. What is important is best place to chant of Krishna, or like Mohan Prabhu has made this altar. A small photograph. Tulsi is very, very helpful, because Tulsi is where Tulsi is, the entire Vrindavan atmosphere comes there. Very divine atmosphere. Chanting in front of Tulsi, things like that. Right? So it's a nice place to chant. Some don'ts of chanting. Ideally, there are no don'ts. You can chant anytime, anywhere. But certain don'ts is definitely not to chant with mobile in hand. That is like a disaster recipe. Don't chant with mobile. So if you have to do something with a mobile, better do something with a mobile and then chant. Multitasking is not an ideal thing to do. It's not that in one hand you're mobile and other hand you're chanting, one hand you're talking to someone, other hand chanting. If you're chanting, do that. If you're doing something in your mobile, do that. Better not to mix things up, right? We will not be able to experience anything of chanting. Right? So, can I chant any other mantra? Yeah, if someone is already chanting some other mantras, most welcome, you can continue it, no issue. But at least we should try to add on chanting of the Mahamantra. Right? So this Mahamantra is something that is most important. So many people have this question also, what is the difference between Om and Hare Krishna? Om also is the representation of Krishna only, but Om is a more formal address. Hare Krishna is a more intimate address. That's how you formally address him. Krishna is a more intimate name of God. Just like now, a judge goes to court, and in the court, the judge is called, whenever the judge goes, Your Highness, that's how he's respected. When the same judge comes home, do you think his wife is going to call the judge Your Highness? No chance, right? The wife is going to call whatever she wants to call, because it's more intimate. You can't bring the judge, the court atmosphere at home, then there'll not be any difference. So Om is a very formal name of God. Hare Krishna, Krishna is a more intimate understanding of God. That's the difference. So three benefits of chanting. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Shikshashtakam explains Cheto Darpana Marjanam. In the first verse of Shikshashtakam, he explains many benefits of chanting, but one of the main benefit is cleansing of our heart, internal cleanse. Cheto Darpana Marjanam. Our hearts are filled with so many anarthas, lust, anger, pride, greed, envy, illusion. The way we can clean our hearts is by chanting. By chanting Hare Krishna, we can clean our hearts. I think today morning I was telling the devotees in one class, we can dirty our hearts. Without God, we can dirty our hearts. But to clean our heart, we need God. We can put impurities in our heart without God. We don't need God for that. But we are so helpless, we can't clean our heart on our own. We can only clean our heart by chanting Krishna's name. Only Krishna can actually do this internal cleanse. This is the first benefit of chanting. Second is the constitution is established. What does constitution mean? We are all Atma, we are all spirit soul. And what is our constitutional position? We are all servants of God. Now, because of ignorance, we have forgotten it. We are thinking, I'm this, I'm that. We have so many designations that we have. But actual our designation is, we are only servants of God. Gopi, Bharatur, Padakamalayur, Das, 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 Anudas. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was in front of Jagannath Rath Yatra, Mahaprabhu offered a beautiful prayer. In this prayer, he says, Naham Vipro, Nacha Narapatir. What is that verse? Naham Vipro, Nacha Narapatir. I forgot that verse. Very beautiful verse. Where Lord Chaitanya says, Naham Vipro. Vipro means Brahmana. Naham Vipro, Nacha Narapatir. Na yatir vanastova. He says, I am not a Brahmana, I am not a Kshatriya, I am not a Vaishya, I am not a Shudra. So this is what Mahaprabhu says. Naham Vipro, Nacha Narapatir. I'm not getting the exact. Yeah. Yes, correct. Thank you. Naham Vipro, Nacha Narapatir. Napi Vaishyo na Shudro. Naham Varni, Nacha Grahapatir. न वनस्तो यतिर्वा किंतु प्रोद्यम निखिल परमानंद गोपी भरतुर पदकमलयोर दास 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 अनुदास. Very beautiful prayer. So Mahaprabhu is in front of Jagannath, in front of Krishna. He is saying, I am not a Brahmana, I am not a Vaishya, I am not a Shudra, I am not a Kshatriya, I am not a Grahastha, I am not a Brahmachari, I am not a Sannyasi, I am not a Vanaprastha. Think about it. We definitely fit into one of the category, right? Either someone is like a Brahminical oriented, someone is like a Kshatriya oriented, someone is like a Shudra oriented, whatever. Or someone is a married person, someone is a bachelor, someone is a retired person. But Mahaprabhu is saying, I am none of this. But these are all designations. These are all designations of the body. The Atma has only one designation. And what is that? Gopi Bharatur Padakamalayur Das Das Anudas. We are only servants of God. So by chanting Hare Krishna, our constitution is established. And then finally, when we chant Hare Krishna, as we discussed in the beginning, our heart is satisfied. That bliss, that satisfaction that we are looking for, we will get only by chanting. We don't have to run around anywhere. Just sit in one place and chant. We will experience all that satisfaction. So it is explained, when we start to chant Hare Krishna, sin personified starts to tremble. Just like in a jungle, when a lion roars, all the birds fly away. Similarly, where chanting goes on, all the sins start to fly away. When we chant Hare Krishna, material existence, which may seem so glorious, starts to fade away. Trinikritya jagat sarvam rajate sakalopari chidanandam mayam shuddham harir namaiva kevalam. This beautiful verse says, when you experience bliss in chanting Hare Krishna, in front of that, the entire material existence will seem like a blade of grass. You will just give it up. You will experience so much bliss in this chanting, you will just give up all the pleasures of this world as insignificant. When we chant Hare Krishna, you don't have to go to Yamlok to see Yamaraj, because Yamaraj also starts to worship you. And Brahma also, the creator, the secondary creator, he also becomes happy when someone chants Hare Krishna. So in this way, we saw in this whole session the importance of chanting, the science behind chanting, the benefits of chanting, how to chant. But ultimately, it's important for us to start. This is all theory, but practical is also very important. In English, there's a saying, the taste of the pudding is in the eating. You may explain a theory, how to make pudding, how to do this, how to do that. But ultimately, until you eat it, there is no, all these philosophies, there's no point. So we have to actually take the mala in hand and chant. That is the essence of today's class. So thank you all very much. Hare Krishna. Any questions, any comments? Yes, we will do that. Yes, we will pass malas. So as we pass malas, anyone has any questions in today's session? Please take pictures. Anyone?